Have you ever noticed that some people seem to be the first at everything? They're the first person to start the conversation. They're the first person to launch the idea. They're the first person to take the risk, right? Sometimes they're called early adopters, right? They're the first in everything. Sometimes they're even the first person to make a mistake, but they always seem to be moving. They always seem to be going. There's always something new happening in their lives. So in astrology, this go first energy and this initiation energy is associated with Aries. And the timing here is perfect because as I film this, Aries season and the new year is upon us, right? Now, the way that your natal chart is set up, it's not necessarily the case that if you've got an Aries placement, you're going to go first in everything. Really depends on what is your Aries house, also what planets you have in Aries. Okay, so in this video, I'm just going to give you a quick little description on Aries energy, Aries placements in your natal chart, and what they mean for initiation in your life, and even the shadow side of Aries that perhaps we're all too familiar with, and sort of what happens when Aries misuses that power of initiation. All right, so if you want to know more, stick around. You definitely don't want to miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. If you're new around here, hi, hello, and welcome. My name is Mel. I'm a professional astrologer, and I'm the founder of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So if you're new, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So this video is all about Aries placements. All right, now this is meant to be a very general video just for you to get acquainted with Aries energy. Now, some of you may already be very acquainted with Aries energy because you have Aries placements. Others may find Aries energy a little, I wouldn't say difficult, but I would say challenging to deal with. It's all about harnessing that initiation power that Aries is known for. Think of it as like the Big Bang, right? It can be explosive, super explosive, but ultimately very creative. And of course, initiating. So in this video, I'm going to break down what that means, what it means for you specifically. All right, so let's get into it. So, being the first sign of the zodiac, Aries clearly goes first. Aries initiates. But it's not just initiating because it's first. Aries energy represents that primal, instinctive energy that we are all created with. We all have the ability to create, we all have the ability to initiate, right? Think of conception, right? And when the sperm enters the egg, and then boom, the whole gestation period begins. You can sort of think of Aries energy that way. It's about movement, it's about momentum. And most importantly, Aries energy doesn't overthink. It doesn't ask for permission. It feels something, it is inspired, and it goes without too much thought or concern for anybody else. And I don't mean that to shade Aries energy, it's just how it is. Think of babies, right? If you think of the zodiacal wheel and the order of each zodiac sign, it could speak to sort of the development of humans. Aries would be the baby, right? The newborn, even the toddler to a certain extent. And then by the time you work your way through the zodiac, you get to Pisces, it's the old wise sage, right? So Aries energy, think of it like a baby, right? It's like, I want this and I want it now. They're hungry, they cry, they want something, they go after it. There is no, what is my mom gonna think? Or maybe I shouldn't cry because mommy is sleeping. Like, you want something, you go after it, you get it. That's the essence of Aries energy, right? Now, of course, with all zodiac signs, there's sort of a positive expression of that and a negative expression of that. I'll get into that in a second. But the degree to which you experience this initiating energy in your chart is really determined by your Aries placements. So now let's talk about that. Now, I'm not going to cover every single Aries placement because that would take forever, especially because I like to think of every natal chart as like a snowflake. Even if you have the same placements influences other people depending on the house structure, depending on the aspects. Your placements can be very different from someone else's. And that is why I offer my signature natal chart experience, which is called the blueprint. So this isn't just your regular natal chart reading. This is my own specific framework that helps you understand yourself, not just how you're designed via your natal chart, but also what chapter you're in your life and what transits are currently affecting you. It's a three-part framework that really gives you a holistic view of who you are and what's going on in your life right now. Again, it is not regular natal chart reading by any stretch of the imagination. Those who have entered the blueprint experience are oftentimes blown away at not only the information that I provide via this, natal chart and other charts, explanation, but what to do with it. One of the things that I noticed even when I got natal chart readings from other astrologers was that, okay, you get this reading and it's like, now what? There have been times where even when you get the recording, it's like, okay, it's something that you won't visit regularly. It's kind of like information that's like, all right, that's cool to know, when you kind of store it in the back of your mind and go about your business. This is different because it kind of keeps the education going. Okay. And so if you're interested, the first steps would be to not plan. The first step would be to schedule a clarity call. It's a free 15-minute call where we discuss what the service is at length, what it entails, what it includes, and whether the service is right for you. If you're interested, the link to book a clarity call is in the description box below. If you already know this is for you and you want to get the ball rolling, the link to actually book the blueprint experience with me will also be in the description box below. If you want to, if you know what you want, especially in this Aries season, and if you got these Aries placements that's like, boom, I want this, let's go. The link to just book is in the description box below. So take advantage. It's a really great experience. All right. But in any event, let's get into some of the Aries placements. So again, that Aries energy, it's about initiation, it's about going, it's about desire, and that instinctive energy that we are all born with. All right. And this is very true, especially if you have Aries sun. So Aries sun really speaks to your personality, how you express yourself. And you express yourself boldly, directly, and a lot of perhaps your motivations behind the actions that you take in life are going to be desire driven, what you want and how you go about getting it. Period, point blank. All right. One of the other sort of prominent Aries placements would be Aries rising. So Aries rising means that Aries is your first house. So your outlook on life, how you show up in the world, is very much filtered through the lens of Aries energy. So you are a self-starter, you're an initiator. I like to call Aries risings the firecracker because you will start some shit and then often you'll walk away, right? And it's not to say that you sow chaos, it's that you come in and you start things, dramatically sometimes, or even with a bang. All right. So Aries rising really, I'd say Aries sun and Aries rising really exemplifies the pure essence of Aries energy. One of the other prominent Aries placements is moon in Aries. The moon represents your emotions, and our emotions are very much tied to our desires. And so how you feel is very much driven by what you want. Okay. You are emotionally driven to act when something feels strongly, when you get that divine nudge, when you feel like really fired up or passionate about something, it definitely informs your emotions and definitely informs your actions. Some may say that as an Aries moon, your emotions tend to be quite intense. So, whatever you're feeling, likely you feel it intensely. There's a fire underneath. The one thing I love about Aries moon energy that I've noticed is that conflict is definitely a thing for Aries energy just across the board. But what I love about Aries energy is that you'll get mad, but then kind of get over it kind of quickly. You're not necessarily holding a grudge, although in the moment when you're feeling what you're feeling, whether it's anger, rage, frustration, oh yeah, that can be very intense. But then you kind of get over it and move on to the next thing. And I find that to be very much the case with Aries moon energy. All right, so let me know in the comments below. Do you have any prominent Aries placements and what are they? I'd love to know. And talk a little bit about if you're feeling inspired, right? Talk a little bit about how that plays out in your life. Like, if you are an Aries moon, do you get, do you fly off the handle easily, but then get over it easily? I would love to know. So let me know in the comments below. And then finally, the last Aries placement that really speaks to the pure essence of Aries energy would be Mars in Aries. Mars is actually the ruler of Aries, the planetary ruler of Aries. So when the planetary ruler of Aries is in Aries, oh, baby, you are the warrior at heart and at the very essence of your being. Now, you're very desire driven. Where there is a cause for you that you truly believe in, you will defend it to your last breath. You can be kind of combative only because maybe you exude a certain confidence and a certain steadfastness in what you want. Oftentimes, society will get us to sway from what we want, especially if you have this placement and you are a woman. That can come off very masculine. It can come off very self-assured, and oftentimes society may try to humble you. It may try to break you because women are supposed to be fluid and you're supposed to, okay, go with the flow. Mars and Aries is definitely not like that. You know what you want and you're willing to stand 10 toes down on it. And that can rub some people the wrong way sometimes. It's not to say that you need to limit yourself. It just means that certain people may not have the capacity for your confidence, the capacity for your steadfastness, right? Some people know exactly what they want. And they're just like, it's super simple. I want this. I go after it. That's it. Where some people waffle a little bit and they're like, I don't know, maybe this, maybe that. They're overthinking. When you know what you want, you don't overthink, you just go. And so Mars and Aries can be a very strong, very prominent placement that makes you perhaps even a little intimidating. But Mars and Aries, great for entrepreneurship, great for being a self-starter, great for being independent and autonomous. Like it's really the essence of Aries energy. So those are kind of the placements that really speak to the essence of Aries energy. But what happens when an Aries energy kind of goes awry? What's the shadow side of Aries energy like? I love to say that sort of the shadow side of Aries energy is you leap before you look. Aries can be mad reckless, mad reckless. Because you tend to not overthink, you don't think about the pitfalls, you don't think about what could go wrong. You are just on go mode. You want it, you go after it, not realizing that there could be a detour, not realizing that there could be danger in the path, right? It's impulsive. It can be very combative. Could also be very selfish, right? Because you're not overthinking, because you're not thinking sometimes at all, how someone may feel, how someone may react to your confidence, your ability to go after what you want may ruffle some feathers. And you're just like, yeah, fuck it. I don't care. I don't care. I want this thing. I'm going to go after it, which lends itself to almost bulldozing your way through things. Now, that can be very helpful, especially if you're met with resistance, right? Remember, Aries is the warrior. So you're willing to fight, you're willing to bulldoze. And when met with equal resistance, that can be okay. But if met with resistance that isn't as forceful as your desire, as your momentum, as your speed, you may bulldoze things that you may need. You may bulldoze people that could be helpful, right? The shadow side of Aries can be super independent, super autonomous, super just me centered. And there's a time and a place for that, but there can also be some pitfalls and some longer term consequences that you're just not contemplating at the time when you're really riled up in the throes of passion concerning your desire, right? So, although it's great for starting things, right? Because when you start, you kind of need to quiet all that noise. You kind of need to just get things moving. Aries energy, specifically the shadow side of Aries, could really be short-sighted, really impulsive, and ultimately can be very reckless. Knowing how to harness this energy, how to contain it, and how to use it with laser-like force, knowing when to apply pressure, knowing when to fight, knowing when to bulldoze is important. So timing can be everything, okay, when it comes to Aries energy, but knowing when to really push that button and when to really put the pedal to the metal and really accelerate, right? So timing can be everything when it comes to the shadow side of those Aries like qualities. All right, so to bring this all full circle, especially now that we are entering Aries season, it is go time. There's been so much talk about the fire horse year, and of course, I did a video a couple of weeks ago about that. And at the time that I did that video, it was about slowing down and recalibrating and understanding what trajectory you actually want to go in. Now the Aries season is upon us, it's go time. It's time to not necessarily overthink. It's time to put momentum, right? Pisces season was about hibernation. And now we're getting into Aries season where it's about go. It's about momentum. It's about being desire driven and a little impulsive. Right? Aries energy, it could be a little reckless, but sometimes you need to be slightly reckless and risky, right? But be willing to take calculated risk in order to start something new. All right, so again, let me know in the comments below if you've got any prominent Aries placements and how they play out in your life. We can all learn from each other. All right, my loves, it's pretty much all I got for you for this video on Aries energy. Hopefully it was informative. If it was, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this with an Aries person who needs to know a little bit more about themselves. Again, if you want to book a clarity call with me or book the blueprint experience, both of those links are in the description box below. All right, my loves. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.